Hello and welcome to It's My Friday. My name is Scott Stanfield and I am a modern longevitarian. Welcome to this Monday, a Thanksgiving week, and just want to say thank you for all the people tuning in on the Spirituality Gone Wild channels and also here on LinkedIn and all the Facebook pages and groups that I have you in. So much gratitude for anybody that's just tuning in and listening to this. And so much gratitude for the Spirituality Gone Wild Network and all the co-creators that are there, and Debbie G and my friend Steve Weber for getting me, referring me to this network. So what I want to talk about today, which is really an interesting thing, is how to help someone, guide them, be a guide to help them going from being upset to happy in one conversation. Now, let's face it, people get agitated, people get annoyed, people become, they're upset, they're angry, they're livid, they can even be unhinged. And this could be another person or it could be you. Now, if it's you, the self-regulation of this emotional experience is called emotional intelligence. It's EQ. But what happens is, what if it's when it's on the other side of the court? And how are you going to be of assistance to this person? That could be a term that I've used over the years and heard when people become emotionally hijacked. And so what is that, and how does it look? And here it is. It's a step-by-step, a five-step method called the herd method. And this is something that has been born out of me being in hospitality for over 25 years. And basically I've learned this along the way and been taught some of these things, but added my own pieces into this and made it my own. So the Bruce Lee way of doing that: absorb everything, keep what is useful, discard what is not, and then make it uniquely your own. And so this is what you're going to learn today. Now, this can be used with anybody in your life. It could be used with someone that's a family member, a friend, an acquaintance that you may have, or even a stranger that you're meeting for the first time in a grocery store that's upset because we're out of toilet paper or whatever the reason may be. And if you got any questions along the way, I'll be happy to go over those or answer those questions as best as I possibly can. Now, when I used to teach this, when I worked for Marriott Autograph Collection Property, that with workbooks and pairing up with people and all those things, those tasks, it was 2.5 hour training. But we're going to do this in less than an hour, and it's going to be super, super amazing. Because it also can work with someone who may be a guest of somewhere that you're working in, no matter what position you're in, because this is just basically a sequencing of that allows you to tap into psychology. Now, first of all, let me address, where does this fit in being a modern longevitarian? Now, it is no secret that the more stress you have, the more likely you are to actually have disease, chronic disease, or to become unhealthy. There's cortisol spikes that that are coordinated with insulin spikes that then will send signals to your body to store fat instead of burning fat. So this method allows me to remain more emotionally intelligent myself, because I know I have a process to help me get to the other, go through and get out the other side of this unscathed, and really help resolve the issue that the person has. Now, most of the time, there are many, many ways that people may become, again, annoyed, agitated, angry, upset, and unhinged. But the majority of those times are because when somebody is, their expectations are just not met. Or for me, a lot of times is that it's a surprise that I wasn't, a surprise is something that I wasn't expecting. And a lot of times a surprise is seen as something as negative. It's not like a surprise birthday party that you would have. So whatever reason it may be, is unmet expectations that could lead to this. And so let's just start with a story here. It began all with a simple mistake. I was working in a restaurant. I was a general manager of a restaurant where they served a double chicken breast that's stuffed with cheese. And once the chicken breast the pocket had been made and the cheese pocket was put in there, the cavity was actually held together so the cheese wouldn't all come out with a bamboo skewer. And when you put a bamboo skewer into a 450-degree oven for 20 minutes, it's likely at times that it's actually going to burn in places. And what happens is that the cook's responsibility is to actually make sure that they get the skewer out on both sides of these two chicken breasts. In this particular case, a mother was actually sharing with the chicken breast, the cheese stuffed chicken breast, with her autistic son. Now, let me just say that that this is the loudest and longest that I've ever been yelled at by a guest in my entire, probably even a person maybe in my entire life, but especially in a professional capacity with this. And the dish was delivered to the mother and to the son. Now, here's the thing. A mother, when she is going to be protecting her young, her offspring, her child, it can, and rightfully so. You know, my wife is the same way, and I am very protective as a dad of my children as well. And so I understand why this lady was extremely upset. In all actuality, what happened is that this piece of skewer was actually on her plate, not on her son's plate. But she was actually in her mind playing this what if game. What if my son would have gotten this skewer in this chicken breast that we're splitting, and he would have choked on it, and he, because he's autistic, would not have been able to tell me what would have happened. Now, what happens is that a lot of times, especially in restaurants, that when something goes wrong, there's an unmet expectation. It takes too long to do something because there's all these micro deadlines that are met during a dining experience, especially in a fine dining experience. You know, how long does it take to get seated? How long does it take to get greeted? How long does it take to get the water? How long does it take to get drinks from the bar? How long does it take to get your food from the kitchen for multiple courses? How long does it take to get your check? How long does it take to get the dirty plates cleared off? So all these things are happening. There's also an expectation that the food that you serve is going to be cooked properly, but be also safe. And in this case, there was a mistake made, a simple mistake made, and the skewer was left in a piece of the chicken, and she was playing the what if game. So she was extremely upset, I would say in the unhinged category here. And I got summoned to the table. And here's the first step of the herd method, and it is hear. You should hear what the person has to say and listen to them completely. The first step of this hearing process is do not take it personally. I could do a better job of that at home for sure with my family, is not taking things personally. And so this is the difference between doing this in a work environment and doing this in a family or home setting. And so don't take it personally. And I learned this from my dear friend, Howell Wright, in Estes Park, Colorado, who we talked about in a police setting. How do they, handle these type of situations? Because the first step is don't take it personally. So this is not. I'm just putting all these pieces together for us here today, and so I didn't take it personally. And actually, what I did is I actually took a knee. I was in full dress, full suit, and I get down, and the way that this lady was sitting at the table against the wall, it was like echoing through the dining room, and everybody could hear her, especially the other 7 people at the table with her, but also the people in the rest of that room, and so basically, I just listened. I listened to her, and I'm listening for what actually the problem is. And so I'm listening for content, context, and trying to understand, because the whole goal of this is actually to find a resolution to the problem that has happened. And sometimes people, and 80% of the time, people just need to talk this out. They just need to be heard. And this is why this is the heard method, because the first step is people want to be heard. They desire to be heard. They need to be heard. And so it's our responsibility on this side of the ball to listen and to hear them completely. Now, how is the best? And so let them finish, because if you interrupt them and you skip the E and you go to apology, you say, I'm sorry, and you didn't listen completely, you're going to get this. Trust me, I've gotten it from experience. And you say, I'm sorry. You go, no, you're not, because you didn't listen. And I didn't listen at times, but in this particular case, I did. I listened to this lady. What if my son would have gotten this and he would have choked, and, what would have all of these things have gone down this what if thing? Okay. She was putting herself in the future, worst case scenario. And I get it. I totally understand it, because it could have been extremely a bad situation. So long story short, I'm not telling a long story short. No, sorry. Back to the long story, right? I listened completely. And then I stepped into the next step of this, which is the E. So HEARD. So hear completely without taking it personally. Number 2, empathy. Now, there's one of 2 ways you can do this. There is a way to tactically use empathy that comes from the book written by former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss. It is called Never Split the Difference, Negotiate Like Your Life Depends on It. And he calls this a label, and as a tactical empathy statement. And you could say something, it seems like, or it sounds like you are, and then match their level of emotional content at this moment. And so you can say, it sounds like you're extremely upset about this. Now, I caution you in using this. I don't use it all the time. This came in later, and there's a late addition into this method, is that you can come across as condescending sometimes. And so then you have to then say, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just saying this is what it sounds like to me. And I'm just, so I don't use this particular method all the time. But what I did do in this particular situation with the chicken breast and the lady is say, I'm so sorry. I'm a father. I have 2 kids, and I know exactly how you feel, because if I was in your position right now, I would feel exactly the same way. And what happens is that it lets that person know on the other side, when you use this empathy statement and you put yourself in their shoes, is that you're letting them know that you heard them. And it's a confirmation that you heard them. And so this is the super important piece of the puzzle, because empathy it's a common thread that runs through every piece of our lives, no matter where we are, relationships, in this situation when somebody's upset. Empathy is a huge, huge pillar in emotional intelligence. So understand that expressing this empathy to somebody lets them know that you absolutely heard them. And then the next piece of the puzzle, because what happens is when you say this empathy, they're going to continue to talk and tell you more about the story, especially if you use this label. If you going back to the label, it sounds like, or it seems like you're upset, extremely upset, annoyed, agitated, disappointed, whatever you use to match their level, their emotional level, they're going to then they're either going to correct you because you're incorrect, which will actually help you zero in on how they're feeling, which is a super, super important tool with this is the label. And you're actually going to just pause and let this label work. And they're going to give you more information to allow you to really step into that empathy statement, like I did with the lady saying, I'm a father, I have 2 kids, I know exactly how you feel. And so it lets you do that because you're getting more information. And then you have permission to apologize to this person in the situation. And yeah, thank you very much. I got this. Love this and perfectly timed. And thank you very much. Hi, Nicole. It's thanks for being here today. And I so here's the thing. You can use this with your family that's coming back to visiting for holidays, right? Because tensions are high right now in our world, right? There's lawsuits about the election. There's fighting in the media. We just went through all the protests. There's a pandemic. There's a second wave. There's all these things that are happening. I just saw that in Los Angeles, where I was working last, in Los Angeles County, no more dining outside. There was no dining inside. So basically it's only curbside again. So there's lots of things that are really happening. Tensions are really high. So this is super important. But now that you have listened completely, you have not taken it personally. You have either taken the option to use this labeling technique then you've definitely used a solid and genuine empathy statement. Then you can, you have permission basically to apologize to this person for what the infraction they have felt, right? The upset, a feeling they have gotten for unmet expectations. And now you can say, I'm sorry that you're going through this, or I'm really sorry that this happened. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so sorry that this is something that you're going through, or this is how you feel. Right? You can use however you can word this, and if you notice, you can't even see, but I'm putting my hand on my heart. Sometimes I would put it just below my heart, and I would lean in and I would say, all right, in this case, I was on a knee. I was eye level with her, down on her level, on my knee, listening to her, empathizing with her, and now apologizing with her for that. Now, and now you're getting to, and so now the next piece of the puzzle, let's see, Harry's saying here, I use a similar to this in my restaurants to deal with employees and customers. It's work for me to make choice. It has worked to make us the choice of local restaurants. Yes, exactly. And this is what I use. And this is the same thing. It'll really, because a lot of times that when you're going through this process, Harry, that you're actually able to make this guest a raving fan more likely than A, if it didn't do anything at all, but B, then if everything would have gone almost right, now you can fix it and really connect with them and follow up with them. So this is one conversation that is happening and doing this. So let me get back to this. So now you're to the resolve. So H is here and you're listening and not taking it personally. B, you're empathizing and using this label technique possibly. C, then the next thing you're doing is apologizing and using a genuine apology, right? You're not blowing them off. And let me just go back and say, if this is something that you're doing in an environment that is not on a dining room floor in a restaurant or in a hotel or in the business you work on, and if you're with your family, do not have your phone out. Show them that you're really listening to them. Okay, if you're trying to multitask or your phone beeps and all that stuff, put it in your back pocket, set it down, move it somewhere else. Don't have this distraction of your phone because it's telling them subconsciously and consciously that you don't really give a flip about where they are emotionally. So just understand that this is super, super important for you to make eye contact and listen to them. Break eye contact by looking down, right? Don't do a staring contest as they're talking. Just, listen to them fully, completely with grace, okay? And understanding. Okay, because there's been they're emotional for a reason, and it's been most likely for unmet expectations. And so basically, and I apologize. I'm so sorry that this has happened. I completely understand. And then find a resolution. And a lot of times, if you're in a business environment, a resolution is to pay for it or comp off the meal or those type of things. But it's not always the case when you're dealing with an employee or you're dealing with a family member or you're dealing with a loved one or a friend. You can't just say, hey, let me just comp off your meal. That's not how it works. So you have to find a true and honest resolution to this. And the resolution may not be something that you can do immediately. It may be something I need to look into or research or investigate or make changes in yourself, right? In those type of things. And so just understand that the next step of this is finding the resolution. And so I can't really, and it's super important because a resolution, and here's the thing, if you happen to be in a restaurant or hospitality or any of those type of things or any type of business, and this is a work, environment that this is happening. If there's a problem with the steak, don't buy a dessert to cover up for the steak and make them pay for the steak. Actually, comp the steak, right? That take care of the problem they have. And then in the delight phase of this, the delight phase, you will then delight them by giving them a AAA plus service, but also that's where comping and giving a free dessert comes in, or a gift card to come back or something along those lines. And so obviously in this case with the chicken breast, the lady didn't pay for it. We took care of this chicken, and we went above and beyond to really, the server and the team and I went above and beyond to not only resolve the issue but also to actually delight them in the end. So they are super happy with the guest experience. Now, when I started in this industry, when I started in the world, there were no social media, outlets like Yelp or TripAdvisor or OpenTable to leave reviews on. And so you had to, things just spread word of mouth because it's something that way versus this. So this is also a way to guard against, if you will, them going and leaving a negative review. So this is another way of preserving your online reputation and even your offline reputation, because you want to let people know that you really care, that your restaurant, like Harry was talking about, the choice of local restaurants is because you really care and put the guests first. And when something is wrong, you actually care about their experience, and you're really there for them. And so that's super important. So again, HEARD, and D stands for delight. And there's so many things that happen in delighting them. The first step of this is, excuse me one second, a little sip of. The first step in delighting the guest is letting all the parties and other managers involved or other people in your family know that this situation is going on, as long as you have permission to share this. And so is getting people involved in the resolution, right? Because the team resolving this is so much more powerful than just one singular person. And so, and this is a super powerful tool. This herd method is super powerful. So that's the first thing, is just is notifying this. And like, for instance, this was specifically in a hotel. And so a lot of times the guests dining in the restaurants are actually staying in the hotel. So you can let the front desk know, you can let the manager on duty know, you can let the general manager of the hotel know that this has happened. And so nobody's blindsided by this. And so, and you obviously, if you're in a standalone restaurant and in a hotel, you can let the chef know that this happened and the cook know that it happened. So it can be avoided in the future, in the very immediate future, not just, next time that chicken dish comes out, or the next time your family's here together, because we got Christmas coming up, or the next time you go to the grocery store, right? And somebody may be upset. I just went, and I posted this the other day. I went to Costco down in Salt Lake, and they're out of all these paper goods, right? By the way, I bought all these paper towels in the restaurant section over there that we could use for backup toilet paper, right? So there's more paper goods than just something on a roll that you can use in the restroom. But anyway, my point being is this: delight the guests, go over, above and beyond, and exceed their expectations from this point to really show them that you truly and honestly and genuinely care about them as a person, about them as their experience, and the fact that they are upset, annoyed, agitated, unhinged because of this unmet expectation. And so So again, I can't really express to you how important it is to understand the sequencing of this and the depth of this particular method. And I've been using this and crafting this for, gosh, going on 14 years now. And is one of the gifts that was given to me by working in the hospitality industry. And I can't be more grateful this week than any other time than knowing that this is such a powerful tool to help people um, be a guide for someone else who is upset and emotionally hijacked, if you will, or having an emotional misfire, or in a different perception of what's happening. Another instance of this would be we had a lady that came in to the same restaurant, and this was a year or so later, and she had made a reservation online, put in the notes that it was her birthday, reminded the hostess that it was her birthday, told the server that it was her birthday when she was greeted, and then the server forgot to give the free birthday dessert. So here we are. A birthday dessert is going to, when you, is what a dessert is $9 to $12. And my resolution for this because I didn't listen long enough, I said, I'm sorry. She said, no, you're not. Right. And it ended up being that her reality that she was living in, it took a $50 gift certificate so she could use at another location, because she wasn't living in the city anymore. She's living in Vegas. Another a gift card for $50. That is what it took to help her. That was the resolution, and that's how deep it went. And so, but I was able to find that out by listening and re-listening to it, because I was busy and I didn't listen completely. So H, hear without taking personally and completely. E, empathize, and also have this option of using a label, which is an FBI hostage negotiation technique from Chris Voss in his best-selling book, Never Split the Difference. Negotiate like your life is depending on it. And this is what a label is. It sounds like or seems like you are, and fill in the blank, annoyed, disappointed, extremely upset. You're angry about this. And that's a way of letting them know. And then also the empathy statement of, I completely understand how you feel. If I was in your shoes, I would feel exactly the same way. And then apologizing. I'm extremely sorry for this. I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry that we're going through this. Something along those lines, right? A genuine apology. Resolve the issue. Find a resolution that works for everybody involved, and then delight the person on the other side. Delight them by over delivering on whatever the promise of the resolution is, and then follow up with them. Notify other people that are inside that can help make this the best possible experience there is. So there you have it, is the herd method, and how to be a guide for someone who is upset and take them from upset, angry, annoyed, unhinged to happy in a single conversation, right? But and this really will escalate your own emotional intelligence, because you now have this process that you can walk through, HEARD, to get people. And if you want to download this book, I wrote this, and it's in a book, as you can see the book cover that I had. It's on my old website, not strongforlonger.com. It's on thegmcoach.com under free training, and it explains this. And so you can go and download that. And again, thank you for those who are joining in today. It's been fun telling this, because this is a great, great tool that you can use with anybody in your life: friend, family, foe, guest, employee, all of those things. So if you got any questions, be sure to put them in the comments. I can come back and do that. And again, thank you for the Spirituality Gone Wild Network for having me on. And I'm super excited about being a part of that team. And thank you for all that are commented and listening in on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Here we go. We're going to do the outro. Cheers. If you know what, let me say this. It may be your Friday. If it is your Friday, I hope you have a great weekend. Again, my name is Scott Stanfield. I am a modern longevitarian.